Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Duel Screens Versus. What the hell is Duel Screens Versus? Well, this is a debate show where Andy and I are going to debate the hell out of some topics, and our guest moderator here is going to give us points, and then we're going to determine who is the best and who is the worst at everything. That's what this show is for, okay? Our guest moderator this week for this show, he is the host of the Nothing Podcast with Nobody Important, and an overall hilarious dude. He is John Pud Panepinto. How are you, John?
Hello. How are you guys?
Doing really good, man. Very excited to have you here. This is
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Fun.
What does the PUD stand for? Like pulling your PUD?
Oh, we're gonna go there. Do you want to go there, John?
I've gotten that a lot.
I have to go there. I have to go there.
This is
right
very so, and with us, of course, that is Andy Asimakis. He is the other half of DuelScreens.com and everything Duel Screens podcasts. So
Hello.
It's actually a very interesting story that I don't know if John knows the whole story, believe it or not. But John, you start the story. Where does PUD come from?
So for me, when people ask me where it comes from, I just say that it's the name of the character the first character that I played. I'm an actor. When I was 9 years old, it was the first lead I ever played in a show.
Correct.
And his name was actually John in the show. And that just happened to be, but the name stuck, PUD. That's as far as I know. Why people continue to call me that is because people who knew me then call me that, and it's stuck. I'm sure they were older than me. I'm sure there was like some innuendo happening, but I don't know about it.
So it was really just because you were a little pudgy, so they didn't want to call you Pudge, so they just called you PUD. But
well, I still am.
The twist to this story, ladies and gentlemen, is that John and I go as far back as that very show.
Yeah.
And I actually did theater before that show with his older sister.
Yep.
And John, I don't know if you know this, but you beat me for that role. And
I don't know. I didn't know that. No,
you did, because I was deemed too old. I was 11.
I had never been.
I was 13. I was 13.
I had never been in a show before, ever.
12, something like that. Yes, you had never been in the show. I had a lot of animosity towards you. I hated you forever, but not really. Anyway,
there's a lot of people like that. We'll find a lot of people like that.
Anyway, welcome to the show. This is how the show is going to work. There are 3 rounds of topics to debate. They are handcrafted to fit our guests' expertise. Each contestant will have 60 seconds to make their main argument. The moderator will then give points on the fly. Okay, just giving those points willy-nilly. All right. After the main points are made, the moderator may ask questions to the contestants, and then we'll have 30 seconds to respond to those questions. And of course, more points can then be given. But before we get into the main rounds, before we get into the 3 topics, of course, the categories are gaming, movies and television, and the best ever. Those are our 3 rounds. But before we get into any of that, we're going to start with warm-ups. And John, this is where I'm going to kick it over to you, my friend. In this round, each contestant will respond in rapid fire fashion to 10 questions. Just kind of boom back and forth, and then you'll give points at the end.
Yeah. So so you want me to give the points at the end, not give the points as you're answering the questions?
You certainly can. I can.
Okay.
I'll get it. Hold on. I'll get a pen and paper now, because now. Oh, I got a crayon. I got an orange crayon right here because I am a dad.
Just keep it going, because you got to keep it going. I'm going to throw points everywhere. They're going to be all over the room.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Now, do we just shout out, or like you just say, Andy, I'm asking you this, or
no,
Steven,
he's gonna have to ask us, specifically.
Okay.
See, I was going to ask you both.
Like a free for all.
Question. No, one question you both have to answer.
That's fine.
Yeah, that works.
We can do that. We can do that.
That totally works.
Sure.
Oh, I made it tough, guys.
I like this.
You don't even know.
I like this. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, my 10 rapid fire questions are just a way to introduce myself to you guys in the audience. So, they're 10 things that if I could sum myself up in 10 questions, what would they be? Because you guys have to answer the questions on how you think I would answer them. Is that right?
Interesting.
It's like a newlywed game.
Yes, exactly. And now Steven has a leg up because he actually knows me as a person.
Yes, as a human, yes.
You brought in a ringer. How dare you? This is fully stacked against me.
But I tend to go a little left when it comes to my opinions. So that's a clue for you, Andy.
Okay.
So I'm going to read you. We're going to go. Okay, ready?
Here we go.
Okay.
Number 1. This is for both of you. Best Star Wars movie. What would I say is the best Star Wars movie?
None of them. They're all terrible.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. I'm going to give Andy 2 points.
2 points to Andy. Good job.
Off to a good start.
Although it's not the right answer,
Okay.
but it's closer than none
Okay.
because they're all great.
Could you do like some?
Fair.
The answer is actually, and it's funny because Empire Strikes Back is my least favorite.
Oh,
But,
wow.
Yeah. I'm a Jedi man. Okay, next. I'm coming at you from left field. Shoes, socks, or barefoot? What do we
Barefoot.
think?
Socks.
Andy's going to get another 2 points.
Oh, damn.
Steve. Yeah, okay, I'll give Steve 1 point. Steve, you're going to get 1 point.
All right. Good.
1 point.
I like it. For effort. I like it.
Shoes is definitely the wrong answer. All right. Netflix and chill or Hulu and hump?
Hulu and hump.
I'm going to say Hulu and Hump.
You're both get no points. The answer is
Ooh.
neither. We're watching a
Disney
movie. There's
Plus.
a time and a place. No.
No.
There's a time and a place. We're watching a film right now.
A film.
No time
Yes.
for that.
Interesting.
There is one for Disney Plus. I don't remember what it is.
Disney and
if
Hump?
Disney
It
Plus
is-
and us.
There's definitely something like that. Yeah.
Disney
Okay.
Plus and us.
Disney
That's
Plus
horrible.
and us. Okay,
No,
ready?
Disney Plus and Thrust.
Yes,
There it
that's
is.
it. Disney
That's
Plus
better.
and Thrust. That's it. Oh my God, people are crazy. All right, ready? Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Piece of trash or underrated gem?
It's an underrated gem, and there's no question. I don't even know if that's how you would answer, but that's the answer.
Iconic film.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna give Steve 2 points,
Woohoo.
and I'm gonna give Andy 1 point.
Okay.
I was gonna go higher, but then Steve got it. Literally, he's right. It is an underrated gem. I've actually publicly before tried to change people's minds on that movie. You want to talk about debate? That's a good movie. Okay, ready? Is Paris, France, a nice place?
No.
I think that is the specific way to describe Paris, France. It's nice.
It's a
Okay.
stern no.
I'm gonna go with Andy. It's a stern no.
Okay.
I was gonna give you one there, Steve, but Andy, you see I'm working in the 1 and 2 points for now.
I see it. So what do we got?
Andy,
What were the
it's a
points
stern no.
It's a stern no. I've been there and I know.
Yeah, you've been there. That's how you
Yeah.
know it's not really a
Yeah.
nice place.
there? I've
Maybe.
never been.
No, that
How
means
many
you
points is Andy getting for that answer?
2 for that, and you got 1.
Got it.
Okay. Best non-Muppets or Sesame Jim Henson property.
Fraggle Rock. Was that his?
It was
Okay.
Fraggle Rock, submitted by Andy. Steve?
I'm blanking.
It's a tough one.
David Bowie movie. That was him, right?
Labyrinth. That's Labyrinth.
That
Yes.
was him, right?
Yep. Steve gets 3 points for that.
All right.
Oh, wow. See, I want to say Dark Crystal at some point, but
Dark Crystal is great. The Netflix series is even better than the movie.
it is better. Yes, it is. Way better.
Andy, you get none because I love Fraggle Rock, but I tried to rewatch it recently, and it turns out I don't love Fraggle Rock.
Doesn't hold
Okay.
up so well now, does it?
Okay. Next one. Rice balls with or without peas.
Oh God, no peas.
No peas. No peas.
Wow. You both got no points for that.
No peas.
You need the peas.
Unless there's meat. You
Is it meat too?
specify. Oh, you didn't specify that.
What's just peas? You're going to put just peas in a rice ball?
Well, it sounded like it was
a
just
rice
peas.
ball. A rice ball is
and peas.
cheese and rice. A Sicilian rice ball is the meat and the peas.
All
You
right.
didn't specify
Well,
Sicilian.
let's
meatball.
call it a nil on that. Nil
All
nil
right.
for that one.
All right.
All right.
Okay, ready? We got 3 more.
All right.
Musicals or plays?
Oh, musicals.
I know you love your musicals, but I feel like you.
Hands down, musicals.
I'm going with plays on this. I feel like you like a good play.
All right, I'm going to give Andy 2 points for getting it right, and I'm going to give Steve 1 point for respecting me enough to think that I would like plays more. Because
I
that
mean,
makes me
I know
You're
musicals
that
are more
cultured,
fun,
like
and I know you
a
do
good
more
play.
of them. But like, I feel like you.
makes me feel like a real actor.
Yes,
Yeah.
there it is.
There you go.
Even if
There you
you're
go.
just doing it in a church basement. Moving on.
Yes, which I am adept
Still,
to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, ready? Better biblical character, Moses or Jesus?
Neither.
Moses.
Character, better
Moses.
character.
Moses
Neither.
for sure.
Neither, you say?
Neither.
Well, you're a Nebuchadnezzar fan.
I'm more of a Zeus guy.
A Zeus,
Yeah, I'm
Greek
more
god.
the Greek mythology.
I'm going to give all the points, 2 points to Steve for Moses. Moses is a better character. We love Jesus, but Moses had a stutter and he still made it work. There you go. He had a mouthpiece. First ever mouthpiece with him.
Oh my God! All right.
All right, here we go. We all know the answer to best, so I'm going second best Die Hard movie. The best is Die Hard 1. We know that. We could skip that. Second best Die Hard.
Second best. You know what? A lot of people would go with 3. They would go with A Vengeance. They would do that because it was more popular, more mainstream. But 2 is like almost too much of a copy of 1. So I'm actually going to go with 4. Live Free or Die Hard.
I'm going 3.
Okay. The answer is 4.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm gonna give you all the points. 2 points to Steve for that. If either of you had said 5, I would have gotten up and walked away.
Don't worry.
Die Hard 5 is literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It was pretty bad.
I almost left the theater.
There's another one, right?
Not yet.
Oh God.
There's a prequel. Like anybody wants to see that.
Oh yeah, that's what we want. Are they going to digitally de-age our friend?
Yeah. Right.
No, they're going to use Josh Gordon-Levitt to play young him.
Yeah, with a prosthetic nose.
Yes.
With a prosthetic nose. All right, so where are we tallying at? Have we been doing tallies or no?
Yes, I am. I have 12 points and Andy has 9.
Ooh, 12-9. Okay. So I think that's it. Those are my 10 rapid fire.
Not
You've learned
bad.
everything you could know about me.
Not bad.
And yeah, I've learned nothing at the same time.
And yet you've learned nothing. That's right. I like peas in my meatballs and I'm a Moses fan.
Ugh. All right. Well, where are we now? Okay, let's go. All right. So now we're going to move on to round 1. This is the gaming topic. And I'm just going to kick it right over to you, John. So you take it away from here.
Okay. So the question that has been presented is, how do you make the perfect Muppets video game? Which one of you had more points, Steve?
I did.
Okay, I'm going to let Steve answer first because he won the speed round.
Fair enough.
All right. Do you have a way to do a stopwatch, or should I?
You.
All right. Let me get my clock. The least amount of responsibilities is
Without hesitation. This is all on you.
I'm setting you up. Listen, this is episode 1. I'm setting you up for future moderators who want to do the least amount of work.
Perfect. I like it.
You know?
Start here. I like it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So, okay. And by the way, I've given zero thought to this. I made the doc, sent it to you, and I put it out of my ears. Didn't even think about this for 1 second. Okay. All right. Here we go. And beginning. So, the perfect Muppets video game is actually quite simple. You've heard of Kingdom Hearts. That is Final Fantasy, and that is Walt Disney properties. You've heard of this. But I want to go a similar route, but I want to go turn-based RPG a la like Super Mario, Super Paper Mario, like Paper Mario type thing. And it's Muppets meets Dragon Quest characters, Dragon Warrior characters, the other Square property. So, but you only get the one, the main hero, and then there's like all the little enemies, like the little blobs and stuff. But that's what it is. It's going to be, you're going to get, the whole thing is that you somehow get twisted into Nanny's little playroom or whatever, and you got to help the Muppets get out of the playroom, go into the backyard, and find Grover's teddy bear. And that's like your first main mission. And then of course you get sucked into this void, this vortex, and then you go and do Dragon Quest stuff with the Muppet Babies.
Okay.
That's right. I'm going Muppet Babies on this one.
I was going to say.
I'm not going Muppets. I'm going Muppet Babies because you're going to want to grow up with them. I'm sorry. I'm going over my time.
You are.
Okay.
All right.
So should I give you points and take away points now?
Let's start doing points. Yes.
Okay. So I wasn't with you at first because turn-based, I was like, I don't know if the Muppets is the right property. What would their fights be for turn-based or combat at all? But then you hit me with, I don't know anything about Dragon Quest, but you hit me with the mixing, with the Kingdom Hearts mixing of franchises.
Right.
I think there's a lot of fun you can have where you can meet certain characters and do certain things. So I gave you a couple points for that. I'm going to give you 2 points. We're going to stick with the 1-2. So I gave you 2 points for that. Then when you started talking about Nanny, I got to deduct 1.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Because, well, no, it was Nanny. It was Nanny. Because I feel like I there's way more to see with the adult Muppets. Now this is really giving Andy a lot of leeway here because he's
a little bit.
You know.
Well, let me retort. Let me.
Well, you're gonna retort, but wait, I'm not done yet.
Okay, sure.
So that I took that off. Then you went into the backyard, which then it was imagination wise, and I'm going to give you 2 points there.
Okay.
So now you're up to should be 3 points.
That's correct.
Great. And then I'm going to deduct you another 2.
Oh.
Because Grover is from Sesame Street. You animal.
Oh, I meant to say Gonzo.
I know you did. I know you did.
That's what I meant to say.
I know you did, but I have to be fair.
You do.
Hey, listen, you're
You
fair
really
and
do.
impartial.
Yeah.
But what you don't seem to realize is you're not seeing the forest through the trees, as it were.
Right. Okay.
Because yes, they're babies now, but that just means that you can meet the older versions of the babies and have the babies and older versions meet each other in a time story, a time travel story. I know you like your time travel movies. I know you like your Back to
the Futures and stuff like that.
Yes.
Terminators.
So
and
that's
what
what
have
I
you.
envision. I envision we're getting Muppet babies where they're meeting Muppets and all that other fun stuff. But
They're
anyway, I
growing up.
digress.
Is that your retort?
That is my retort.
All right. Well, see, that's an argument I would have wanted to hear in your initial
I understand. I
pitch.
only had 60 seconds. I had to really.
But the growing up. All right. I'll give you 1 point back for that because I like that.
Good.
So where are you at now?
I'm
We're
at 2 points.
fluctuating somewhere between 2 and 3 and
I am
6.
2 points.
2 points. The next round, I'm going to up the amount of points. Just
Understood.
FYI.
Understood.
Because I'm making the rules.
Around.
I'm the game maker, baby. All right.
Andy,
Andy,
your
you're up
time
All
next.
right.
starts now.
So I think with the Muppets, they're a large group, but I want to laser focus on a few characters. I would go 2 routes. You'd either do a game starring solely Animal, but it's like a WarioWare minigame setup. So the plot is the band he's in was kidnapped, and he has to somehow get them back. And there's mini games like a burger time where he eats, like a eating contest, or he gets into a boxing match, like a punch out kind of scenario. Or the other way I would go is you'd single out Gonzo, and it's like a sim, and he's like the governor of the whole town. And he has to run it with an iron fist, and he rules through austerity, and he taxes the fuck out of everybody. And you're just watching the society just crumble down to pieces and bits. And that's the perfect Muppets game. It's for kids and adults.
You have 5 seconds to spare.
Well, that's the whole case. That's why it's
Wow.
nice.
Giving up
Well,
5
it's time.
seconds. Giving up 5 seconds.
Yes. That's my confidence level, John.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're into it. So, okay. I'm going to start off. Initially, you didn't have me. You didn't have me with
I
the
like
animal with the animal standalone. I was like,
Right.
what? But then when you're talking mini games, WarioWare, and then you had a plot, that's 3 points. I'm going to give you 3 big
Wow.
points.
Okay. So
3
Right?
big juicy points, baby.
Three big juicy ones.
got it.
And then you started talking about Gonzo being like a dictator, and I don't know where that comes from.
Just look at him.
I don't-
Andy on this one.
I mean, you know, I like the idea of running a town, but I don't quite see. I'd like to hear a little more about where you're drawing the Gonzo dictator comparison from. So I'm going to deduct 1 point from you. So right now you're tied with Steve. So you have to really win me in this in the rebuttal.
Well, the retort is, I feel like if you have just one character, it seems less like a licensed game and less gimmicky. It looks like you gave more attention, like you took it seriously when you're developing it. Like it's just about Animal or Gonzo. It lends more credibility to the game itself. Now, as for Gonzo, he just looks like a villain. Like he's like the Darth Vader of the Muppets world in some way. Because like you don't see him being bad, but if he is bad, it kind of makes sense in a way. Like, yeah, I can see it happening. I can see him being a total asshole to the whole population.
Because he's an alien.
Right. Canonically, he's an alien, right? Okay, so that's your retort.
Yes.
I'll give you 1 point back
Okay.
because I think bringing up the underlying concept of he's a troublemaker. He could be bad.
Right.
He's got those movable eyelids, which they don't all have. So
That is true.
once you can angle those eyelids,
unassuming.
yeah. Yeah.
It was creepy.
So, all right. So that's good. Now, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys have any idea of former Muppet games at all? Have you ever played any of them?
Not a clue.
There are. Oh, there are.
There's plenty.
There is the Muppet Party Cruise, which is basically Mario Party. Not
Love
great.
it.
and there's Muppet Race Mania, which is a racing game for PlayStation 1, and it's incredible. They touch on all the minor characters. Every level is a reference to one of the movies. It's really, if you're like within the Muppet fandom, Muppet Race
PS1,
Mania it was on PS1. Yeah, well respected is Muppet Race Mania among the fans. And then there was an app game about 3 years ago that was like My Singing Monsters, only with Muppets, where they're just, as you place them, they sing different pieces of a song, and that was really great too. You guys didn't pitch either one of them.
No,
you guys didn't pitch any of those.
Well, we got to be.
Well, I'm here to lend my I am here to lend my intel.
That's accurate. That is 100% accurate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get to the scoreboard here.
Let's see what the scores are.
Andy, you have 9, 10, 11, 12 points. You have 12 points now. You got 3 in that round. I'm going to make sure I sequester that. I have 12, 11. I have 14 points. So it's close. 14 to 12 is a very, very close round. Now, we are getting into something John knows way too much about, and it's kind of scary. And that is movies and television.
Yes.
Specifically the movies.
Yeah.
So here is our topic. Actually, I'm going to just kick it to John. You tell us the topic.
Okay. So it's another versus, as goes the theme. What I want to do with this one, if it's all right with you, Steve, I'd like to try. I'd like to try for you guys to debate, for Steve to give his argument, and then Andy to give his argument, and then I want Steve to retort, and I want Andy to retort, and then I'll divvy out the points. If that's all right. That's okay. Yes. Create a little bit of tension.
Yes.
Keep us on our bare feet.
That's right. Keep you on your bare feet. 1 point for socks.
On our bare toes.
Right. So this is a divisive.
Okay,
this is two. Again, I'll use the word divisive reboots going head to head. You've got Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot, 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Ghostbusters, the 2016 Ghostbusters female reboot, which in the Ghostbusters community is referred to as Ghostbusters Answer the Call. So you've got Answer the Call versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like we'll see. Let's say is it okay if Andy goes first this time?
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
Andy?
All right.
Go ahead.
And begin.
Okay. This is an easy answer. And the answer is the Michael Bay films. Because you'd expect a film about 4 teenage turtles to have dick and fart jokes. But no. Those were in Ghostbusters. And worse off, there's queef jokes in that movie. That's right. Queef jokes. From 4 adult women. You get better face acting off of 4 CGI turtles than 4 adult human being comedians with actual careers and cachet to their names. These are actors from Saturday Night Live, huge comedians, and yet I would find better comedy in a Gilbert Gottfried sketch or like, I don't know, some bad comedian. I'm joking here, but you get the point. It's a very unfunny movie.
Carrot Top is what you're looking for.
Yes, Carrot Top. Thank you so much, Steven.
You're welcome.
It's about the props.
Yes, and that's my argument.
All right, 5 seconds to spare again. Look at you. Mm-hmm. You're the 55-second man.
Wow.
Oh, no, dismiss. All right. All right, so I guess I will make my argument. So I also think that the TMNT movies are better than the Ghostbusters female reboot, Answer the Call. Mainly because I feel like Answer the Call was a direct response to what was working in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and then making it bad. Almost kind of how DC has made superhero movies. So you took this really hot property in Chris Hemsworth, and you really, really tried to shove that down our throats. You were like, no, he's funny, goddammit. And he's going to be funny in this movie. And he's going to be hilarious. And he's going to be sexy. And he's going to have his shirt off. And all the women are going to love it. And it's going to be great. Except he's not Thor in the movie. So it kind of just looked stupid. The Michael Bay movies, the first one was not really good at all. But they redeemed themselves with Bebop and Rocksteady in the second movie. And that really kind of makes up for it all. And I was kind of hoping they would make a third one that could possibly get even better. But I digress.
Okay.
My 1 minute is up.
Very good. Andy,
Yes.
in your retort, I would like to hear you discuss a little bit more of. We know why you didn't like Answer the Call. I would like to hear your opinions on Ninja Turtles.
Well, the second film primarily had Krang in it, and Krang was, I believe, the actor was the older brother from Everyone Loves Raymond. I forget his name. He did a great job with that role, and it felt like watching a cartoon from the '90s. Like it was silly, over the top, but it embraced that '90s sort of mentality of the Turtles, and it really felt like you were just watching something in front of your TV when you were a kid, and it was just a fun film, as opposed to the other one, Ghostbusters. Where like the idea of comedy in that film is Thor saying Mike Cat. His cat's name is Mike, but it's not Mike Cat, but it's a dog named Mike Cat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the level of comedy in that movie.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That certainly was a thing that happened.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes. Steve?
Yeah.
Give me a retort.
Just anything. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you heard his now, so.
The Ghostbusters movie, at least I was constantly looking at my watch or just clicking the little button to see how much time was left in that movie because it felt like a 3.5 hour movie. It just seemed to never go anywhere. The Ninja Turtles movies, I think the only real thing that's bad about the movies, like objectively, like holy shit, this is terrible, is the turtle design and the characterizations of their powers, which was really, really just kind of off-putting to me. They had way too much strength, even though like traditionally they would be very strong. They're mutants, but like I just didn't like the way it was displayed with them throwing, big tanks or whatever the hell those things were, the shipping containers, and like just beating the crap out of everybody. I like the more nuanced ninja aspect of the turtles, and the faces, they are just terrible. Oh my god, they're terrible. But everything else kind of wrapping around it was actually kind of cool. Shredder was kind of badass. All explosions, I'm okay with explosions. All great movies have explosions. We all know that. Die Hard had plenty of explosions. So yeah, I just think that it captured the spirit of the Turtles. It just looked like garbage.
Okay. Okay, how do you guys think you did in those rounds?
I think Andy did a really good job at discussing the humor in the Ghostbusters, or lack thereof.
That's right.
But to point to my argument is it was so not memorable to me that I couldn't even recite one joke from that movie, let alone the 7 that he recited. So maybe he liked the movie more than he says he does.
No. And to that point, like the original film, it was all about comedy, and when you lack that in the reboot, it's just why you even bother doing this.
Because the humor of the original film is all subtlety. It's all about
an
subtlety.
Iconic line from the first film was when the guy comes to the station and Janine says, "Picking up or dropping off." It's such a simple line, and it works so well. And again, we have queef jokes.
Yep.
Queef jokes.
Yeah.
In the reboot.
That's true.
Yeah.
We did.
So to bring a little balance to the force here, I'm just going to start out by saying you're both wrong. I really like Answer the Call a lot. Now that blanket statement is out there,
we should debate you for this one.
You're right. The humor is fairly lowbrow, and it's not really comparable to the original. I'm biased. I love anything Ghostbusters. So like, I would give me Answer the Call, eat it up. I think I saw it 3 times in the theaters. Like,
oh my god, anything
Ghostbusters, I'm in.
You have to vet these hosts better, Steven. This is.
I am also glad. I'm going to say. Let's start it out this way. I'm going to give you guys an overall of, I don't know. What do you think? 5 points for this round?
I think that's good.
5 points for this round. Well, everybody, you guys will start with 5 points, okay?
Okay.
Andy, you had 5 points. I deducted 2 points because you didn't even mention Ninja Turtles in your first argument. You did a little bit, but then you just railed into Answer the Call, which again, I have to be biased.
I think your bias kicked in.
I have to be biased. No, I have to be biased. I don't care that you railed into it. That was your discussion, but you didn't talk about Ninja Turtles, but you did mention the queef joke, which brings me to my next thing. In your rebuttal,
Mhm.
you did reference specific jokes from Answer the Call. So you did your research there. I'm going to give you 1 point back. So now you're back to 4.
I've only seen it once, and it made such a lasting impression on me.
No, but see, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. You've only seen it once, but you remember that joke. You remember this Mike Cat. He's a dog named Mike Cat.
You know what, John? You know what, John? My dad died one time, and I recall that very vividly.
You remember it?
It was a horrific event.
I suppose that's true. But and then you brought up Robert Barone there as
yes, Robert Barone,
yeah.
Why am I blanking? I'm blanking on his name too. I know his name. Why am I?
Yeah, he has a very specific name.
Yeah.
Brad Garrett. I've seen him live.
Brad Garrett. Yeah,
Half his show was just showing clips of
I've
Raymond.
met him before.
Oh yeah,
He's a great guy. Yeah,
so you like him?
I do like him.
So I was going to deduct points from you because you weren't bringing up any specifics, even in your rebuttal about Ninja Turtles. But so it doesn't sound like a plus of points. But I'm going to leave you at 4 because you brought up Brad Garrett. I was going to bring you down 1. You were going to lose a point.
I'll take it.
But so now you're at 4. That's you at 4.
Okay.
That's where I'm leaving.
That's
you.
real good, Andy. That's a real good round.
It's really good. Yeah.
round.
It's a well-rounded round.
Steve, you start with 5 as well.
Indeed. Yeah.
You brought up again. You didn't talk too much about Ninja Turtles, but you did start out by saying that the second one is better than the first one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Which you both said, but is definitely very true.
Yes.
But you mentioned Bebop and Rocksteady, which is the reason it's better.
Correct.
Yes.
To me. So can I give you a point? No, I guess not. I'll leave you at 5 points for that. Sure. He's got 6 points now.
Yeah, I do.
But it doesn't matter because then you brought up shirtless Chris Hemsworth, and he's not shirtless in Ghostbusters at all. So you're back down to 4 points.
Oh.
So it doesn't matter.
Again, know nothing about that movie. So
It's very revealing that you hoped you saw a shirtless Chris Hemsworth in that movie.
That's how much I really wanted.
Yeah.
I was looking for some redeeming quality.
What I'm going to do is based on your retort, I'm going to give you 1 point back and leave him at 5 because you brought up negatives about Ninja Turtles.
Of course, yes.
Which was something I was looking to hear from you guys was a little bit of negative versus a little bit of positive of each. Definitely we disliked Ghostbusters there, but there was some praise for Ninja Turtles too.
Melissa McCarthy, or whatever the hell her name is, she's funny. She was all right.
But not in that movie. Leslie Jones was the
you
best
don't have
part
to
of
like
that
that
film,
movie.
but she was so underutilized.
Who?
Leslie Jones.
Get out of here! What are you talking about? Leslie Jones.
She's the best part of that movie.
The one from SNL is the best part of the movie.
Yeah, Leslie Jones.
Aren't they all from SNL?
No. Yeah, no. The one who's on SNL now, the blonde.
Oh, Kate McKinnon.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's a great character.
I don't know. Kooky lesbian scientist. I wasn't into it.
She's a lesbian in real life. She wasn't a lesbian in the movie.
There's a couple jokes in there that are not so subtle.
There definitely are.
And again, you remember them.
You remember that. You remember it better than I do. And I like
Again, I'm going to invoke my dad's memory. It was traumatizing.
All right, so is that where we're staying? 4 to 5 on this round?
Yes.
All right.
All right, I'll allow it. Pretty good.
All right, so, excuse me. So I am at, what the hell am I at? 12, 13, 14. I'm at 19. And Andy, you are at 10, 12.
3.
16. 16?
16?
Yeah,
So what is it? 16 versus what?
19.
19. Wow.
All right.
So yeah, go on.
No,
please. No.
You want to wrap up? You want to put a bow on this topic and move on to round 3? Or do you want
I've got nothing more to say. Nothing more to say. Right, expand your minds. Expand your minds, guys.
I understand. Round 3. This is the best ever. This is where we argue what the best ever of a random thing is. For example, like what's the best fast food? What's the best French fry? What's the best song from 1994? Whatever. So, John, take it away.
I'd like to see you guys argue on this one, if I can. So, if it's possible, can you state what your choice is and then debate each other?
Okay, we could do that.
Is that possible?
It is possible.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So this one is best Bill Murray movie.
Mhm.
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 And it could be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a Bill Murray vehicle. Could be something that he was just in.
Yep.
But plan your arguments accordingly.
Okay.
Okay.
So once you start out you could say what movie it is and make a small case, and then I want to see you argue. Let's start with Steve.
I'm going Groundhog Day. I think Groundhog Day might be that movie. I'll wait. I'll save my argument.
Yeah, okay. So Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
Andy?
I'm going to go with What About Bob?
It's so funny. It's so funny. When I saw this topic, I said to myself, one of them is going to say, "What about Bob?" And I haven't seen it. Now, that doesn't matter.
Really?
Yes, but it does not matter.
Really?
In this case, it does not matter. I'm listening to your arguments.
Okay.
So, What About Bob versus Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, Groundhog Day to me, and almost as much as What About Bob, but Groundhog Day was literally all him. There was no other star of that movie. He was the focus. He was the camera followed him literally every shot almost in that movie. It was all about him. It was all about his comedy. It was all about his acting chops, and what he could do with that role. It's super memorable, super quotable. I feel like that's really what made, like, he had done some goofy type stuff. He had done some ensemble cast movies where he could rely on other actors, much like in What About Bob. The cast around him, playing off of somebody a little bit more. He played with everybody in Groundhog Day. He had an opposite in every scene that he could kind of just bounce off of and jump around. And they weren't necessarily mega stars, at least what I would consider a mega comedy star. So I think he really carried that movie on his back, and it's still a super high quality movie. And again, super quotable. And they made a sequel to it as a VR video game. So I don't see no What About Bob video game.
Andy?
Well, I was hoping that Steve would say Groundhog Day, or maybe he would go with The Aquatic Life of Steve Zissou, because they feel like they're the obvious choices. Like, well, it's Groundhog Day. It's the best Bill Murray film. But I feel if you go a little bit more obscure, like What About Bob? You've never seen it before, John. And now you're like probably a little curious. Like, why is this film even being mentioned? And why did I think that it might be mentioned? It's because it has Bill Murray in one of his most iconic roles. He plays a character who has multiple phobias and neuroses, and he seeks out the aid of a therapist played by Richard Dreyfuss nonetheless. And he's trying to dismiss him, and he's like, you know what, I get your deal, but I have my month-long vacation to go to. And Bob, that's his character name, Bob, one of his issues, he tries to get attention and reassurance from his therapist. That's one of his neuroses. So he follows him to his vacation home on the lake, and he decides to take a vacation from his problems and vacation in the same area as his therapist. Now, this all ends with Richard Dreyfuss going completely insane and being committed, Bob blowing up his house, and him eventually marrying his sister.
Spoiler alert. Now, John, that's all great and everything, but you have to understand what makes this movie is Bill Murray opposite Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss being the straight man who winds up flipping on a coin. His performance in the movie kind of helps the Bill Murray in this movie. Now that could make the whole movie actually a better movie. But the argument here is Bill Murray movie. What if you're going to show somebody a highlight and say this is why he's one of the greatest comedy actors of all time? I have a funny feeling you're going to choose more scenes from a Groundhog Day than you are a What About Bob? Because honestly, What About Bob, although it is a great film, you don't got a lot of people quoting that movie. Not a lot of people know about it. And I think that's why it's not really the quote best.
See, I don't agree, because if you want to dip your bare naked toe into the lake that is Bill Murray, have a little light touch. I go, here's a simple film that really showcases his acting skills, and if they like it, you go on to like the master's course of his career, the Groundhog Day. Plus, this film, Yes. Plus, this film also stars. Now, it doesn't got no Andy McDowell like Groundhog Day does, but this has what's her face, Elaine from Airplane, in it as Jarvis's wife. So fine actress.
Yeah.
And just to see him devolve over time and Bob actually goes from a nutty, quirky character to a well-rounded actual human being towards the end.
Right.
So,
much like Groundhog Day, where he's
right
and he becomes a normal human being.
Now, Andy, I'd like to hear you argue against Groundhog Day. I've heard you do a lot of for What About Bob?
Yes.
What about against Groundhog Day? What makes it better?
Which Groundhog Day better than
No, what makes your movie better than Steve's?
Well, I think because it's a more obscure film.
But it's got nothing to do with the qualities lacking in his film. It's about the plus qualities on your film.
I just feel I feel that there's just too much Bill Murray in that movie.
See, okay, that's what I'm looking to hear. That's what I
like Bill Murray, but just I like him in small doses.
You like the tete-a-tete with the fellow performer.
Yes, I like him to have his one-liners, to have his scene-stealing moments, and if it's all about him, it's hard to get those moments out of there.
But right, which is funny because your movie is all about him, right? That's right in the title. It's right in the title.
So what about him? He feels like
oh, right.
What about Bob?
So, Steve, do you have any sort of retort to that, or are you closing your argument?
I just think that the topic here is Bill Murray movie, and if he needs somebody else to kind of bounce off of to carry the movie, then it's not a Bill Murray movie. It's a Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss movie, not a Bill Murray movie. Like Groundhog Day is a Bill Murray movie. Full stop. I mean, yeah, I feel like that's really my argument here. Plus, the polka song is well known throughout the whole universe at this point.
It is, even though it's not in the musical.
Nope, not in the musical. It's unfortunate.
Okay, so I think the way I'm going to do this one, because I think every moderator is going to do something different, is I'm going to give a total of 10 points to who I find to be the winner of the round.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. This is make or break, Steven. This could
make or break.
Winner gets all. Winner takes all in this round.
This is it.
What? Yeah. So, Andy, like I said, you had made a lot of good points for What About Bob? You had really sold me on wanting to see the movie. Mm-hmm. I was going to deduct some points that now I'm not deducting because you spoiled it for me, but whatever. That's my problem, not yours. But I wanted to hear you really, really come at Groundhog Day, because the point of arguing what the best or the greatest movie is that if you feel that yours is the greatest, that means that you feel his is not.
Yes.
Right. Steve, I heard a lot of the same point come from you, which is great. Mm-hmm. That it is a Bill Murray movie. It's his vehicle. He's the star of the movie.
That's correct.
And he does interact with pretty much every character. Mm-hmm. But again, I didn't hear you knock much on What About Bob?
That's a
really
movie. Can't do it.
Right, and you can't, and I'm going to be honest. Based on the fact that we had established earlier that I knew Steve coming in, mm-hmm. and that I had never seen What About Bob, mm-hmm. I really wanted to give the points and the win to Andy. I did. Steve, though, and as I said, he made the point enough times, but in my heart of hearts, what I found catching me was the fact that he felt that the argument that his movie was a Bill Murray movie, right? Now, I said earlier that you could have chosen a film that wasn't a vehicle for him, but it was going to be an uphill battle. And I think I wasn't convinced why Groundhog Day is not as good as What About Bob? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give the round to Steve.
That's right.
I'm going to give the round to Steve.
Good job.
Well done. Well argued. Well argued on both accounts. And who knows? Next time you play this game, the rules could be completely different.
They for sure will be.
I think the thing we really learned here is that you never argue with a Sicilian when death is on the line. Now,
I'm starting to look like him as I get older.
We all do. We all do, especially in our current climate.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you, John, before we kick it to the end of the show.
Yes.
What do you think is the best Bill Murray movie?
There's a lot of options. I hesitate to say Ghostbusters because that's sort of my thing, right? I do love Life Aquatic.
Oh, great movie.
I watched Caddyshack last night. I can't in all righteousness say that Caddyshack is my favorite Bill Murray movie because he's probably my least favorite part of that movie.
He's weird in that movie. He's
very
like,
weird.
Yeah, he's like
He's
a
funny.
footnote in the movie.
Yep.
He's
funny, quotable, but weird. So I think I probably have to go Ghostbusters. I think his whole persona is make or break is made or broken by his performance in Ghostbusters. I mean, Groundhog Day is an incredible movie. It's an incredible movie. The script alone is like next level.
It's perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta say Ghostbusters. You know,
Good.
Ghostbusters.
I love Ghostbusters too, but
It's fine. Yeah,
True.
yeah.
So do I, for that matter.
Yeah, Ghostbusters
Yes,
2
I
is
like
fine. It's
Ghostbusters
just,
2.
you know,
That show gets a lot of hate. I don't understand why.
it's just more of
I
the
don't understand
same,
why
and
either.
it's not as...
I am my drippings with goo.
oh, he's great. What a great character. Janusz
I know.
Poha.
Amazing.
Janusz Poha. It's a great.
Janusz, yeah.
All right, folks, and that is going to do it. And we have the final scores of
Uh-oh.
Andy with, what is this number? 16 points. And Steve, that's me, 17, 27, 29 points.
29. How did that happen?
Because you gave 10 points for the end.
No, I know I gave 10 points for the end, but
I
weren't you
had
guys
19. So,
but didn't he have like 16?
no.
Yeah.
Yes. But
I
he
had
stays
16.
there because you didn't give him any points at the end.
Oh, right. That's right. That's right. Okay. I was kind of
29 to
aiming
16.
I was aiming for more of a 29 to 26, but
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Right.
We got you. I'm just going to stretch his victory out. Anyway,
Wow.
that is the first episode of Duel Screens versus. If you want to follow us on social media, we are at NDS Podcast. I am at BatChild27. Andy is at PanSky. And you can join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/DS Podcasts. John, Pud, my good friend, where can everybody find you and everything you do?
So I am at The Man with the Black Glasses on Instagram, and my show, The Nothing Podcast with Nobody Important, can be found at The Nothing Pod on Instagram or at nothing-podcast.com. You can get it on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much anywhere. You can hear it directly on the website. Get us on Facebook, The Nothing Podcast with Nobody Important. It's a mouthful, but...
So what is the show? What is the show? What do you do?
So basically, the show is my co-host Frank and I and our production team. We bring in a guest every week who is basically a nobody, as it were. Everybody's got a story, right? So it's people who do completely different things from us, things we don't know anything about. Regular people you see every day. So rather than interview a celebrity, we interview a doctor or the owner of the deli or an Uber driver or a garbage man. And then sometimes we'll get celebrities. We have an episode coming up. We just did an episode with a young girl who's starring in Avatar 2, 3, and 4.
Ooh, nice.
Coming up. So that'll be really cool. And we have an episode with Andrew Barth Feldman, who was Evan Hansen on Broadway for the past year. So we do get people in who have interesting celebrity type stories to tell. But we want to get people on the ground level. So that's what it is basically. And if you know somebody interesting or somebody with a crazy story, a mortician, something that you wouldn't think about, it's about giving people recognition who you wouldn't think about. Send them our way. On our website, you can go right in and send us an email, suggest your friends or whatever it is. And we'll get to them. Yeah.
And you're up to
Bill Murray.
Yeah,
Right.
You're up to season 4 or 5? What are you up to?
Well, so we're at season 3, but
okay.
Don't be intimidated by that. We're only at episode 27 now.
Okay.
So it's not like tons that you have to catch up on. Where
It's like a UK season, the British rules.
Exactly. Each season's about 6 episodes or so. Yeah, because when you say 3 seasons, it sounds like, oh man, it's too late for me to get in on that. But yeah, it's a good show, and you could dive in anywhere because it spans the interests.
Yeah, and there's no like references to other shows really. I really like the show. I think I've always liked what you've done. You used to do college radio and like.
It's very similar to my old radio show. Yeah, it's very morning radio style talk.
Yeah, it's very good, and you have a great team. I know a lot of your team, very good people over there. So we do wish you luck, and I may know a couple of guys that do like some dumb podcasts that could join you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure. Remember, folks, this show is not the only show we do here on Duel Screens Podcast. We also do 2 other shows. We have the Duel Screens Gamescast, which records live on twitch.tv/Duel Screen streams every single Sunday night at 9 p.m. And posts on podcast services and YouTube the following morning. And then on Thursdays, we have the Duel Screens Podcast, and that is an interview show where Andy and I bring on industry guests from the video game industry, and they talk about their careers, their games that they're working on, and video game, and really anything they feel like talking about. We give them a platform to talk. So it could be anybody. It could be a programmer, a artist. It could be a background artist. It could be a one-person team. It could be a husband and wife team. It could be a voice actor. Everybody has a story to tell, and we're the platform for them to do it. So that posts each and every Thursday for your listening pleasure on the same channel. So you don't even have to subscribe to different channels, folks. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a subscription, give a thumbs up, leave a comment down below if you like it. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving us a review because it helps the show out tremendously. If you want to support us monetarily, we are on Patreon at patreon.com/NDS podcast. Thank you to our Patreon producer, Colton the Apprentice Nestler. Without all of your support, we cannot continue to grow. So please, if you feel like supporting a small indie podcast, that is how we are funded. We don't have any advertisements. We don't have any other money. We're 100% independent at this point, and funded by Patreon supporters. That's going to do it for us. Thank you, John. Thank you, Andy.
You're very welcome.
It was an absolute pleasure.
It was so much fun.
This was a good one. The first episode of Duel Screens Versus. And as always, please be excellent to each other.